Ladies and gentlemen, where are we at? Are we live? Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to start off by saying that all of this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm gonna just kind of have a real talk, and to be honest with you, it's more for myself than anything. It's actually purely selfish. In the fact that I want to see this country thrive, and I want to see you thrive. And I just see the state of this nation right now, and it really am I the only one who's worried? I just feel like everyone else is asleep, and it scares the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie. America right now is as divided as it has ever been. And the worst possible thing that could happen to these people that are running the show and who have been running the show for a very long time is for the right and the left to come together. There really is nothing that scares the elites more than the entirety of the American people to understand that we have a lot more in common than they want us to believe. Everything that's pushed out by the media, nearly everything, has a slant to it in such a way that we fight amongst each other. And I feel like I'm the only one who's awake right now. We are printing money out of control. We have troops going back into the Middle East, a much more aggressive foreign policy, killing innocent women and children who just want to be left alone. We live in a country that bombs kids, and the public says nothing. The left, which I was once a part of, is cheering on war. It's as if the entire stanchion that was Barack Obama just suddenly made it okay to start killing women and children. And this has been going on for a long time. And I don't want anyone to think I'm just talking about right or left, because I'm not. I'm talking about normal, everyday Americans. And I'm talking about people that really just want us dead. These people don't care about us. They will never care about us. The amount of money between the people that are struggling right now and the people on the top are so insurmountable, it would blow your mind. And this has been going on for a very, very long time. This isn't anything new. It's just, I'm starting to see that either people have a level of cognitive dissonance that they won't actually allow this to enter their periphery, that they will literally overlook the government killing people, that will literally overlook people that work in very, very high-level institutions running our government. The banks, big oil, big environmental, that's the new one. I'm just scared shitless right now. We have people on record, former CIA, going out there and talking about putting libertarians on a list. They talk about every single person who supported President Donald Trump as a white supremacist. They call anyone that dares oppose them a Nazi. Most of us just want to be left alone. and they just won't do it. They refuse to. We're either cannon fodder for the war machine, we are useful cattle for the billionaires and the trillionaires. Our monetary system is collapsing. In terms of the normal workforce right now, not since 1970 has there been an actual increase in wages. America has been on a steady decline since the 1970s. And there's not enough people waking up. So, I really think that there needs to be some sort of higher calling. Because right now, the way the left and the right are divided, we have people on the right that believe the election was stolen. We have social media companies that are telling us that we are not allowed to say that. We have big tech billionaires unpersoning people, insurance companies unpersoning people, medical companies unpersoning people because of their political beliefs, because they want a free and fair society. They want a just society. They want one that is ruled by the people for the people, which hasn't happened for a very, very long time. I think at this point, America really needs a wake-up call because we have been asleep behind the wheel for a very, very long time. The media pumps fear into us. The television and the computer games and the cell phone take us away from our everyday life. We are more disconnected from fellow Americans ever. You add the pandemic on top of that, and you have a powder keg and a recipe for disaster. I don't know about you, but I don't want this country to look like Syria. I don't want people to become so dogmatic in their way of thinking that they become violent to a point that this country literally begins to break down. You're probably looking at the title, and you're thinking, former Trump supporter. Well, yeah. To be honest with you, after he signed that executive order, at least for me, that's when I realized it was just talk. It was all talk. And the moment that he refused to pardon any of the big three, a big fat middle finger to the establishment, the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, and the Pentagon, the biggest middle finger, and he refused to do it. It's my opinion that there probably hasn't been a real president since Kennedy. It's been a while. Possibly Reagan. I guess he did have one assassination attempt. But for those of you, and I'm not trying to say that this, that, and the other, but for those of you who haven't actually looked into the history of John F. Kennedy and the entire Kennedy family, it really will blow your mind how many of them were systematically removed from society. And I think that's may have been what happened. But after seeing the United States back countries like Saudi Arabia, the same Saudi Arabia who on the 9/11 Commission report had an entire page redacted because of how much of a connection they had to 9/11. They had to redact nearly 2 full pages of information because it was the Saudis. The same people that we armed against the Russians are the same people that flew the planes into the Twin Towers. 11 of the 13 hijackers were Saudi Arabian. And now we are backing Saudi Arabia in the Middle East as they have a naval blockade in Yemen, stopping the native population and the Houthis from receiving aid. It is an entire disaster over there right now. And I can guarantee you 99% of the public doesn't even realize there's a full-blown war in Yemen. And we are helping the people who are going to overthrow the citizens that were there previous. St. Michael's sword, either you are for the rule of law or not, live by the truth or die by the sword. Truth is very hard to come by. It's very difficult because there's so much misinformation, and not the oh so gravitas fact checkers evaluation of it. Just normal, everyday, ordinary people. Fuckery, of course. KC773, for starts, we must stop referring to public officials as leaders. If we want for the people, by the people, then we have to act like we believe that. We are the leader. Government is follower. Exactly. A good example of this, if you look at the forefathers, was they were merchants, they were farmers, they were laborers, and now the people that are running the show are all lawyers. Great. Nothing has made something better quite like a lawyer. Insane. I think I'm hoping people wake up, because it blows my mind that we've been under nearly a year of lockdowns. There's still some states to this day that are following some draconian edicts, and nobody seems to care. And it is not even as if the government is actually helping the citizens. They passed a bunch of... They passed billions of dollars, and they sent American taxpayer money in the middle of a pandemic, the wealthiest country on the planet, and they sent that money overseas. Think about that for a second. Our government, the United States government, in the middle of a pandemic in the United States, sent your money that they just make out of thin air overseas. That's what they think of you. Oh, grandma's gonna die? Not too bad. Oh, you lost your job? Too bad. Oh, you can't pay rent? Too bad. Can't pay your mortgage? Too bad. I know you haven't had a wealth increase since 1970, but too bad. And that's why you see a big shift in what's going on in terms of America and China. Chinese children are still thinking about the long game. They think about being lawyers. They think about being doctors. They think about being engineers. They think about being scientists. They are starting to see in communist China that they are going to have more upward mobility than America. The supposed freest nation on the planet. Somehow, some way, is going to have less mobility in terms of your economic situation than communist freaking China. And that's what we're dealing with. These people don't care about us. You see, in America, you see it now. There's the TikTokers, the YouTubers. Great example right here. Snapchat, is that still a thing? Instagram. People are looking for higher risk, bigger rewards here in America. Because jobs are being laid off left and right. We're in the middle of a pandemic with no search or foresight of when we're going to open. The government is cracking down even more during the flu season, by the way. Just so coincidentally, the flu somehow magically disappears, and then all of a sudden, coronavirus ends up being what everyone is given. Funny thing, too. One of the WHO advisors, that's right, the World Health Organization, has finally admitted that the most likely cause of the coronavirus was from a lab. I said that on my first ever podcast. My first ever podcast of the Sanity stream. Almost 6 months ago. When all this information was coming out. And I said, hey, I think it's coming from a lab. And you know what YouTube did? They pulled it. Turns out I was right. And guys, with the internet, like, as long as you're really sourcing your material, you can really see what the next move's going to be here. In terms of America, you already kind of see the twists and turns we're seeing here. For example, in the football games, they have some people in the stands now. Didn't really happen all year, did it? All of a sudden, California decides to lift their restrictions and end their lockdown. They said that the emergency rooms were getting too full when they had about 1,500 people in it. Now that there's over 6,000, now it's okay to open. Like, it doesn't even make sense. 1984. It's so funny because I see people like ragging on this book when I go on Twitter and everyone's like, oh, it's 1984. It's 1984. Everyone's always saying 1984. Read that book. It's amazing. Was it because that was definitely part of Common Core. I mean, I believe nearly everyone I know has read that book in school. It's kind of funny. Is that like the CIA just like rubbing it in our face as we're being indoctrinated by public schooling? Yeah, maybe. Another weird development that I thought was kind of odd, and it really kind of, this actually kind of freaked me out. I think all of this Q stuff is nonsense. But one thing they did say, actually, yeah, wait. Somebody came onto my stream. I'll see if I can find the clip. And they said, hey, the Italian president has been arrested. And I was like, no, he hasn't. Like, you don't know what you're talking about, right? Come to find out, for those of you who don't know, the Italian president is resigning. They're not saying why. They're not saying how. They're not giving any reasons. He's just resigning. The Italian president is resigning. And that's the problem with like a lot of these conspiracy theories. You don't, there's so much misinformation. It's like there's an entire market for it because people want to kind of feel like they know something that people don't. So you get people like Alex Jones who go in there and say a bunch of stuff, and then part of it's true and then part of it's not, and it's just like separating that. I really one person actually I really respect, if you haven't checked him out, Anomaly. He's got some really good content. And he just keeps it real. He says what's actually happening in the country. Whereas I'm trying my best to wake people up, man. It just seems like so many people are lost. They're totally fine just figuring out, oh, when's the next season of Game of Thrones or The Mandalorian? The country is literally being bankrupted. Our government is bombing women and children. We have riots in the streets for an entire year. They lock down the entire country. They don't give anyone any money or stimulus in order to provide for their family after forcing them to stop working. And then on top of that, you have the left and the right fighting each other while the literal establishment is back in action. Now, Trump had his faults, a lot of them, and he is a war criminal. Whether you want to believe it or not, He helped with Saudi Arabia, him and Bolton bombing Syria, killing women and children, not pardoning Assange and Ulbricht or Snowden. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. All right, guys. I feel like I got it. I think we got it in the first couple minutes, which is good. So, what can we do? How can we make this better for us and our family? Me personally, and this is not financial advice, I really like what Bitcoin looks like right now. It's high risk, high reward. And unfortunately, with them pumping so many dollars in the system right now, our money is going to become more and more useless. The exact same time, they're talking about raising wages to $15. Now, you see what happens is the small businesses have been closed down for a really, really long time. And all the corporations have been open. So what they're going to do is they're going to enforce a $15 minimum wage, which is going to kill the rest of those small businesses. Because Amazon already pays people $15 an hour. Doesn't hurt their bottom line at all. Zero. Doesn't even affect them. Because they are under different laws than other businesses. See, if you're a billionaire, you buy influence. Once you have the influence, you set up laws that are going to kill your competition. In the process, they're going to kill the American dream. The idea of having your own business, the white picket fence, 2 or 3 kids, that's going to be gone. That's going to be like a mirage. If you look at a lot of the billionaires, especially people like Bill Gates, who now is officially owns the most acres of farmland in America. Why is that? Why is that Bill Gates suddenly just gets all the farmland, controls all the food? Kind of weird. He just got 84, I believe it was billion. He owns a large stake in one of the vaccine companies. He just got a ton of money from that. There's stories coming out about the vaccine. Can't really talk about it because I'll probably get yanked. But take a look. Just saying, do your research before you make a decision. And I think I'm pretty black-pilled about people waking up. I just am. I think people are content living with a little bit less, not having the upward mobility that their parents and their grandparents had. People in their 20s and 30s are at the lowest birth rates in the history of this country in terms of population. And the culture is setting up a very party type attitude, which is going to kind of keep people off the idea of having children. And that's why when you see Christian families, for example, or many religious families, they have a lot of children. Whereas people that kind of stray from God, whether you believe it or not, and let's just say a higher calling, or it can even be within yourself, whatever it is, the two things that humans are programmed to do is survive and to replicate. And nothing would be worse than a country that doesn't actually care about family, because that's when you begin to see the deterioration of society. You kill the family unit and you make that part of the state. So the state controls everything. I mean, they already do. They already control you. They control everyone. There's only so much you can go off the grid at this point, especially with Bill Gates buying all the farmland. Morals, yeah. Those are very scarce nowadays. And it's of my opinion that the people at the top are actually just pro-humanists. They're pro-humanity. And when you're pro-humanity and you want to make people into basically gods, actual gods, Nietzsche would call it the Übermensch, or the Overman. What pro-humanists would do would be to break down society so that they can control it much easier. Because whenever there's chaos, there's an opportunity. And they see this. So they attack the familial unit. They destroy morals. They pump out, you know, a culture that embraces hedonism. And ultimately what ends up happening is the cultural institutions start to break down and people start to get violent. And that's what I'm afraid of. Because when people start to grow up and they have like admirations of having children or having a family, you know, having a nice house, having a good job, the American dream, when they see that they can't have that and more people begin to settle and the idea that is America begins to die, that is when you'll begin to see violence. It's scary because it's as if we're living in two completely different worlds. When the reality is we're all living in the same one. It's just this simulation that we're living in for America right now is nuts. And all I'm asking is that people, whether you're whatever, I don't even care. White, black, any religion, it really doesn't matter. The best thing we could possibly do is come together to take this country back. We can fight about left and right issues once the people that are bombing kids are taken out of power. Okay? You see a lot of fight in terms of the culture war right now. You see Antifa and Black Lives Matter. You see the Boogaloo Boys. You see the Proud Boys. You see, you know, far-right militias, far-left militias. The worst possible thing that could happen to the people that are running this dog and pony show is for us to come together. Because all of us together can obliterate them. But as long as they use race or religion or culture or political ideology to break us apart, then we will never win. And we will forever be slaves. And we'll deserve it. Because we got conquered and conned without them even having to lift a weapon. What the Americans will do to avoid Chinese by United States, the corrupt is corrupt, USA is corrupt, everything's corrupt. It's all corrupt. This entire country is corrupt. And people believe an idea. They will block the channels of the patriots of the USA? Yeah, they will. They will, and they'll call us domestic terrorists, and they'll call us white nationalists, and they'll call us Nazis, when we're not. We love the Constitution. What's the big deal? Geez, most of us, I would say the majority, in terms of like the main cultural issues, on the right have been losing for 20 years. And now all of a sudden we're the biggest enemy? Need deal in decentralized social media? Yeah, of course. Yeah, we need blockchain technology that actually allows us to speak freely. We live in a country right now where we're not even allowed to speak. That's the kind of country we're living in right now. And I think as Americans, we just need to come together. And I'm finding it harder and harder every day to connect with people. People don't know their neighbors. People don't even know the people they work with. There's such a lack of connection. You add on the pandemic and you dehumanize an entire people, you're going to start to see violence. And that's not what I want to see. I want to see this country thrive. And until we realize that this is a uniparty and that the Republicans and the Democrats are the exact same thing, then nothing is going to change. Regardless of who is in power, we are bombing women and children. The Federal Reserve keeps on printing. The bankers, the billionaires, and the trillionaires continue to make more and more money. The wealth discrepancy goes up nearly tenfold. Since 1970, we haven't seen a rise in our wages. And yet we're supposed to be the freest country on the planet? That doesn't make any sense to me. Americans have a good history? Yeah. What? The Americans of today are nothing compared to the Americans of yesteryear. Nothing. We have nothing in common with those people. Nearly everyone is fat and obese. Everyone's eating food that's killing them. The companies that kill the most people make the most money. And we are basically just a mercenary for hire. That's what America's become. It's become a guy with a gun. Trump supporters aren't the enemy. They are instead perceived as conspiratorial, unanchored to facts, dismissive as evil, and frankly uninterested debate. When Trump supporters stop being aggrieved, then maybe they will listen to us. Yeah, I think the road goes both ways. The thing that scares me the most about the right is the war, and the thing that scares me about the left is the war. What scares me about the left is that when Antifa and Black Lives Matter was going on, during all of that stuff, if they actually went after the state, you know, the people that were responsible, and didn't start burning a bunch of businesses for people that have nothing, literally their entire lives destroyed. The left and the right, if we're going to be targeting anything, we need to stop targeting each other. Because we're not going to get anywhere. When I think about the left, or like whenever I see someone call the left evil, the thing for me is the censorship. It scares me. You know, it scares me thinking of a Soviet-style country where because I said something, I'm disappeared. I'm removed from my medical. I'm removed from all social media. I can't get a job. I'm unpersoned. That's what scares me. And what scares me the most is that the left doesn't think that it will happen to them. I mean, I can't in good faith think that everyone on the left is in favor of war. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. I think America need to go to court and ask for real investigations, not waiting here in Brazil. Our court is totally corrupt because of people we did nothing in the past and they started to fuck us. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing here, though. Like, look at the recent lawsuit by Parler. Parler sues Parler sues Amazon. Amazon had to give them a 30-day of regress so that if there was anything illegal or something on their website, they could scrub it. They didn't do that. They canceled it. They sent that up to a court in Washington, and the court denied them. saying something about the siege on January 6th. In January 6th, they didn't even say that on the lawsuit. They didn't even bring that up. It was just about a breach of contract. Everything is so political. Everything. The courts are political, people are political, and whoever has the most money usually wins. That's why Lady Justice is blind. So she can feel on the scales how much money is on each side. No way without war, these left guys. That was the insurrection. When they need money, they go to capitalism, not socialism. Those businesses do not deserve to be burned, to be sure, and I agree that extreme elements exist in the left and right. My problem is the left is not arming to overthrow the government. Why are you sticking up for the establishment? Like, what have they done for you? Have they done anything for you? Anything? There hasn't been a wage increase in America since 1970. They are bombing women and children. They send our sons and daughters, including myself, off to war. They do that. And seeing them afraid on January 6th maybe gave them a brief, maybe if they had a soul, an ever so brief moment of fear, so they could know the same fear of the women and children that they kill every single day. That's what I think about it. I don't have any mercy for these people. These people are corrupt, they're slime, they're gross, they're incompetent, they're evil, they're Darwinian. They think they're a different class of people. To us, we're nothing. They don't care about us. Thinking about your question, thank you for asking. Yeah, no problem. Like I want the left and right to come together. Like, I'm done with high school politics. Are you guys not done? They've been screwing us for at least 50 years. Most of you guys probably watching aren't even 50 years old. They've been screwing us for a very long time. Aren't you guys sick of it yet? Do you not want to be one of the generations who actually took back the government and made it by the people and for the people? Or do you want to just enjoy this ride? For what? To let these guys run the world? I don't think so. I think we can do much better. I see the state of this country, this great, great country, and I know we can do much better. Gilherm, can I get a responded question? Shouldn't that go both ways? Of course. Henderson, 1,000 times. 1,000 times over. Like, honestly, I just, at this point, I wish we could just say, bygones be bygones. And just say, hey, we can fight about our left and right issues. Hey, how much money are we going to give to education? Hey, how much money are we going to give to each person? Should we have a UBI? Should we not have a UBI? Should we have health insurance? Should we not have health insurance? I mean, I think we all want health insurance. It's just how we get there, right? But yeah, like let's fight about that after we've kicked out these freaking war criminals. That's all I'm saying. How about we stop killing women and children overseas, and then we can start talking about, we can bring back our military to, protect, us from this craziness. I don't know. I'm a firm believer in moderation. I am totally sick of the antiquated instead political arguments, but I'm also sick of blaming others for all problems. Yeah. Like, I saw Jimmy Dore trending on Twitter today. And they were trending him in a negative light. This guy literally is reaching out to the other side of the aisle, the most extreme side of both aisles. If you're talking about anarchists and communists and trying to get them to agree on something, Do you know how hard that is? You know how difficult it is to get an entire country of different religions, races, and creeds and get them all to agree on something? It's very difficult. It's nearly impossible, which is why we should go to the lowest common denominator. These people suck. How about that? Like, we don't agree politically, but we both agree that these people suck. I mean, hell, the Soviets and the United States, they fought together. Very different. We fought with the Chinese against the Japanese. Very different cultures. They want to cry. I think, be honest, even Russia will be against Chinese. Maybe. It depends who has more money. G. Henderson, as a former Trump supporter, would be willing to answer, quote, what does the right constantly attack universal health care as communists? Can't that invite bipartisanship? Yeah, I think a lot of people on the right that say that type of stuff, I believe that every person on the right wants everyone to have health care. It's just, how much are we willing to pay for it? And should my money be required to be taken from me to be given to someone else? And to be honest, I think a big part of it is that Americans in general are, and I'm just going to use a broad brush here, are really fat, really obese. And this isn't anything medical. This is just them choosing to be obese or choosing to be fat, choosing to be lazy. And I think that's what makes the people on the right mad, because they're like, wait, so you're telling me my taxes are going to go help Karen's fat ass? You're telling me she's going to eat hot dog weenies every day and I have to pay for her health care? I think that's what pisses off the right. They don't want their money stolen from them. I think everyone should have health care. Honestly, what I think would be the best option, and I'll probably get crucified for saying this, but what I think would be the best option is, first, because these insurances always screw everyone too, so it's not like I'm like, oh yay, let's cheer on big business. What if we just opened up all lines, like all insurance across all states? Or maybe you couldn't even get your insurance through another country, right? There's your globalism, right? I'm not a fan, but just give the people the most amount of choice they could possibly have. If the option was a public option, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I think there's definitely a way to do it. Like, we're in the middle of a pandemic right now, and the government just hates us. They absolutely hate us. But doesn't the same logic apply to non-parents paying children's schools? Yeah. I mean, I think the state should be completely out of schools. I mean, that's just my opinion. I think you would be a better teacher than the teachers. Imagine if you could work only like 30 hours a week or whatever, or work more than that if you want. You have the choice, right? And then have the time to like teach your son or teach your daughter real life skills that they will actually use. Imagine living in a country where if one of the parents wanted to stay home and the other one was the provider, they could do that. See, up until 1970, you could do that. Today, nearly every family has both mother and father working. So it's a huge struggle. Biden left. They want to bring more people out from American because they will make votes to them. Yeah. So they choose left because they have food and money for Americans. They want to let the USA weak. I think the libertarian idea is to actually have open borders. I think right now that's not a good idea. I think Americans need to start taking care of Americans and get this government kicked out, and then we can talk about some policies. That's what I think. And I'm not for. I'm done with left versus right. I'm 100% done. It's the people versus the elites. That's the way we need to look at this. The plebs and then the powers that be. That's the way we need to look at things. Because otherwise we're not going to get anywhere. We're just going to keep fighting ourselves on stupid stuff like, oh my God, you're too white. Oh my God, you're too black. Oh my God, you're Hispanic. Oh my God, you're Asian. Like, it's just like, come on. Can we all just be Americans, please? Holy crap. No, we can talk. We can definitely talk. It's not just the left though, Aruda. It's the right too. Donald Trump printed more money than Barack Obama. The same Barack Obama who he dragged for years for spending out of control. So it's left and right. I'm done fighting left versus right. I want to take out, this is not a threat by the way, I want to take out the people at the top. I want them out of office. I want them gone. I want new blood. I want people that actually care about this country and the citizens that live in it. Alright guys, I'm kind of rambling at this point. I guess that was the point. I think I'm going to cut this one right here, right now. If you guys like this type of content, go down below, hit that like button, and hopefully you got something out of this. I felt like my first 20 minutes were pretty strong, and then I just kind of went all over the place. But either way, let me know down in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Love you guys. Peace. Coltrane. Choo-choo! Yeah.